Hi everyone, my name is Tyagarajan and I'm going to be the presenter for today's webinar. And we are just going to go ahead and give about 2 to 3 minutes for all the attendees to join in, and then we would go ahead and get started with the webinar. Thank you. Hi everyone, my name is Tiago and I'm going to be the presenter for today's webinar. And I do see we have most of the people who have joined in for the session. So we're going to go ahead and get started with the webinar. So today's session would be on enhanced HyperV Backup using Vembu VMBackup version 3.6. So first we would go ahead and have a quick introduction about the company. So as Vembu Technologies was founded in 2004, it's a private company and we have been profitable since 2006. And we have 4,000 plus channel partners and we reach out to 60,000 businesses, and we are headquarters in Chennai, India. And 70% of our customers are from North America, 20% from Europe, and the rest 10% from APAC. And talking about Vembu BDR Suite. So Vembu BDR Suite is a one-stop solution to all your backup and disaster recovery needs, catering to every requirement of small and middle-sized businesses. So the first one we're going to talk about is VM Backup, which is designed specifically to back up your VMware and Hyper-V environment. And the next one is going to be Image Backup, where you could perform backups and bare metal recovery for physical Windows servers and desktops. And the next one is Network Backup, where you could actually use this solution to backup files and folders, applications like MS Exchange, SQL, SharePoint, Active Directory, Outlook, and MySQL, etc. And the next one is Online Backup, which is a cloud-based solution where you could actually use it to perform file and folder level backups, applications like Exchange, SQL, SharePoint, Active Directory, Outlook, and etc. And this backup would be directly running to our Vembu cloud. The next and the last one is going to be Vembu solution, which is a SaaS backup, which is a backup solution for SaaS applications like Office 365 and Google Apps. And the add-on products which we offer is Vembu Offsite DR, which is an add-on service to Vembu BDR Backup Server. Offsite DR enables you to keep an additional copy of backup data on-site or off-site. And the next one is Vembu Cloud DR, provides ability to set up hybrid cloud environment where you could actually replicate additional backup copy to Vembu Cloud, and you can keep one copy of your backup data in Vembu BDR Backup Server in your data center, and you could run the other copy to our Vembu Cloud. And the next one is Vembu BDR 360, which helps you in 24/7 availability by providing the flexibility to monitor and manage all your Vembu BDR backup environments from a centralized portal. And the last one is Vembu Universal Explorer, is an agentless software which helps you to restore individual items from Microsoft Exchange, SQL Server, SharePoint, and Active Directory instantly. This tool can be used for instant granular recovery for Vembu BDR managed backups. And why you would go with Vembu VM Backup. So basically when you suggest or when you go with the backup software, these are some of the challenges that you face. So backing up a virtual environment typically is more expensive and is difficult to manage, as well as all that requires a fundamentally different approach. And for that, Vembu VM Backup provides you the best solution. So Vembu VM Backup is exclusively designed for virtual environments like VMware, vSphere, and Microsoft Hyper-V by experts in the industry. And Vembu fills a purpose here to be the best breed technology in providing manageable solution in affordable cost for both VMware, vSphere, and Microsoft Hyper-V virtual machines, along with the applications that reside in the system. And it also offers optional cloud disaster recovery. And now we're going to talk about recovery time objects. So where Vembu offers industry's best RTO, which is less than 15 minutes. So basically you could actually perform instant virtual machine recovery, instant file recovery, and you could use Vembu Explorer for Active Directory, Exchange, SQL, and SharePoint. And the next one is recovery point objective, RTO. So Vembu offers near continuous data protection without affecting the production data center. So we have an automated backup and replication schedule. Backup frequency starts from a minimum of every 15 minutes. and so you assure an RPO less than 15 minutes. And the next one is backup verification. Backup data should be recoverable. If not, it's worthless. Vembu provides the ability to run automatic backup verification for all backed up VMs. So backup verification can be automated to run post completion of every backup schedule once in a day, and in the process booting of backed up virtual machine will be carried out and screenshots of boot screen will be captured. The screenshot details will be sent to the administrator via email so that you get a confirmation stating that the backup which is completed is a successful and a bootable and a restorable backup. And the next one is efficient storage management. So Vembu BDR backup server utilizes Vembu Hive file system to effectively manage storage repositories. Vembu Hive is an efficient cloud file system designed for large-scale backups and disaster recovery application with support for advanced use cases. Vembu Hive can be defined as a file system for file system. We do support SAN, NAS, and direct attached storage, automatically scale up out the storage devices, inbuilt version control and error correction, inbuilt compression and encryption. And we have migration plans where you could perform physical to virtual and virtual to virtual conversion. So having plans to migrate a physical machine to a virtual environment, either it's a VMware or HyperV, looking out for a cost-effective solution with less downtime offering and workload, Vembu has inbuilt solution to all your migration plans. So Vembu supports instant creation of VMDK, VHD, and RAW files from the backup of virtual machines or physical machines, so that you could actually go ahead and instantly start migrating your machines. Either you can convert it from physical to virtual or virtual to virtual between two different environments. And now we're going to go ahead and have a quick look on the Vembu VMBackup architecture. So basically, as the diagram explains, you have two different environments. One is HyperV and VMware, and then you would be having these backups configured and it would be running to the Vembu BDR backup server, and the BDR server would connect to Vembu portal in order to go ahead and have the license check and everything. And then you have two different options. Either you could perform an offsite copy to your own data center, or you could even run an offsite copy to our own cloud. And talking about HyperV Backup. Host level HyperV Backup is designed to protect Hyper-V servers. Vembu has developed its own proprietary drivers to back up the Hyper-V VMs in an efficient manner, especially with up to 5x improvement in performance over other backup softwares. HyperV Backup uses application-specific VSS writers to take consistent snapshot of highly transactional applications like Exchange Server, SQL Server, and truncate the transaction logs during the backup process. And its flexible and configurable retention policies back up multiple VMs in a single backup job, or option to create multiple backup jobs with groups of VMs. A hot backup ensures zero VM downtime and support for Hyper-V cluster shared volumes. And now we have an other feature which is called Agentless Hyper-V Backup. So by using that, you could actually go ahead and have, you will not be installing any client or any agent on the Hyper-V host server. So basically, as seen in the diagram, you have two different Hyper-V hosts running, and you have a backup Vembu BDR backup server. So basically, VM Backup will communicate with the Hyper-V production storage and backup the data, and VM Backup works as a proxy between the hypervisor and the BDR backup server, and VM data will be compressed and encrypted on the fly, and VM data will be compressed and encrypted at rest on storage repositories. And talking about full backup. So the full backup is, you could actually go ahead and look at the screenshot. The first one is backup request, then it takes the VSS snapshot initiation, and then VM is added as a component to VSS. It's squeezing the input-output operation. All applications inside VM comes to a consistent state. Then VM backing up, either reading it as a VHD or VHDX file, VSS snapshot deleted, backup success acknowledged. So during the initial full backup for the host mission, Microsoft VSS service initiates the snapshot in the configured guest VMs through Hyper-V integration service. Once the snapshot completes, VM backup client and proxy will read the VHD file and transfer the data to the repository storage. And the next one we're going to talk about is change block tracking. So after a full backup is completed, Vembu's VMBackup CPT drivers start tracking the VHD file associated with the guest mission. So for example, if you have a full or incremental backup completed, then Vembu CPT will start tracking by capturing the input, output, and logging the changes to the bitmap file. And using copied bitmap file, change block will be backed up. All the changes in the VHD file are efficiently tracked by the driver, and when an incremental is scheduled, the block level changes alone will get backed up. This improves the incremental process and the consistency of backups. And now this is going to be a pictorial representation of quick VM recovery on HyperV, VMware, or KVM. It's going to be the same process for different HyperV host environment or different virtual host environment. So basically you have two HyperV hosts which you have the backup running to the backup server, and then you have a virtual drive, and using that virtual drive you could actually go ahead and have instant boot performed either to a HyperV manager or the VMware ESXi host or the Linux KVM. So instantly boot the backed up VMs on native or remote KVM hypervisors. And now we'll be getting into a direct presentation or the live demo of the product so that you get to know how it actually functions, and we would be having some quick topics which we would go ahead and discuss about the recovery features and other things. So give me a quick minute. Alright, so this is going to be the Vembu BDR backup server, and for our demo purpose we have this installed on Windows Server 2012 R2. So as we mentioned, HyperV backups are going to be agentless backups. So in order to go ahead and perform an HyperV backup, once you have the HyperV or the backup server software installed on the Windows Server 2012 R2 or 2008 R2, the first thing you would go is click on backup. You could go with Microsoft HyperV option. So once you click on this HyperV option, it would automatically go ahead and enter the credentials, and you have to manually enter the HyperV host details. So basically by clicking on Add HyperV Server, it would be prompting you to go ahead and select whether you would like to go with standalone HyperV host or SMB host. So once you have that as selected, then you would be clicking on Next. You would be adding the IP address of the HyperV host, username, password, and then you would be saving these credentials so that the HyperV host would be added. And then once the addition is done, Vembu backup server would automatically go ahead and perform a push install of a small integration service to the HyperV host or the HyperV manager, so that it communicates with the backup server, and we go ahead and perform the snapshot based backup for HyperV host. So for our demo purpose, we have already added a HyperV host server. So by just going ahead and selecting that particular thing, we would be scheduling the backup. So once you have the HyperV host added, it will be listed like this. So for demo purpose, we have this 192.168.102 or .127 is the demo HyperV host, HyperV manager, and we have these details added. When you click on backup now, you have options to go ahead and select the VMs that is running on that particular HyperV host. So basically you could either go ahead and select a complete HyperV host server, or you could go ahead and manually individually select certain HyperV host servers. Once you have those selected, you also have a new feature which is included where you could perform VM level disk exclusion. So by clicking on this, if you have any physical disk which has been mapped to this particular VM, you could actually go ahead and exclude that particular disk from backup. And once this is done, then you would be scheduling the backups. As we mentioned, the RPO and RTO, you have a minimum backup time of every 15 minutes, and you could either go ahead and perform a daily backup or an hourly backup or a weekly backup based on your requirement. And once you have that selected, then comes the configuration part. So by default, we have two different types of retentions. The first one is basic retention, where you could actually go ahead and have a retention daily recovery points available up to 99 recovery points, or you could go with advanced retention, where we could go ahead and enable the grandfather son GFS retention policy, and you could perform a weekly merge or a monthly merge so that all these incremental gets merged and it becomes a consolidated backup for you, so that in case of any disaster you would be able to go ahead and restore it without any problem. And once these are done, then comes two different options which is available. So the first one is application aware options. So as we mentioned earlier, using this application aware options, you would be able to go ahead and perform individual granular restore of applications like Exchange or SQL or SharePoint, which is running on those VMs. So by enabling this truncate logs immediately, you would be able to go ahead and perform transaction log backup and everything, so that it would actually go ahead and perform, it would go ahead and purge the logs and it would be performing the transaction logs. So once that is done, you also have an additional feature where you could actually perform additional full backups. So basically our backup strategy works in such a way that the first backup that you run for any client would only be a full backup, and after that all of the backups which is going to be running to the backup server is only incrementals. So by clicking on additional full backups, you could actually go ahead and manually configure additional full backup irrespective of your incrementals. So you could either perform a daily full backup or a weekly backup or a monthly full backup based on your requirement. And you also have retention policies where you could actually go ahead and store the amount of full backups. So by default, you could retain the latest 2 last full backups to be available on the backup server, or you could go ahead and have up to 99 versions. And once you have all these changes done, you could go ahead and click on next, and you could go ahead and save the backup. So you could name the backup and you could go ahead and save the backup, so that the backup would be scheduled and it would be running to the backup server as per the scheduled time. So this is how simple and easy to go ahead and configure a HyperV backup, and you could have an hassle-free backup running or hassle-free backup for your HyperV host without having any problem. And now we would go ahead and discuss about the recovery options which is available for HyperV host. So let me just give me a minute or two. To go ahead and perform different restore options on the backup server, go to the recovery tab and it would automatically show up the HyperV backup which is being configured. So you could actually go ahead and see the job name, the client name, and the total size that is being backed up. You have different options where you could actually delete, or you could see the status, and you could also click on the reports to view the reports, and you have option which says restore. So basically, if you click on restore, you have different types of restore options available. The first one we're going to talk about is instant VM recovery. As we told, it's one of the highlighted feature which is available with Vembu PDR. So using this instant VM recovery, you could actually go ahead and mount a backup of any virtual machine or a physical server onto the HyperV host which is running on the backup server, and you could go ahead and have that image. You could have that backup running as an VM on your environment in case of any disaster. So basically, if you click on instant VM recovery, it would go ahead and ask you to go ahead and select the restore points. So once you go ahead and select the restore points, you could go ahead and select the mission that you would like to restore, and then you could go ahead and select the restore software. As I told you, by default, when you install the backup server on Windows 2008 R2 or 2012 R2, it comes with HyperV. So you could go ahead and use the inbuilt HyperV manager, and then you could go ahead and schedule your RAM, and if you would like to configure your network details, you could go ahead and perform the IP address, subnet mask, default gateway, DNS server, and even the virtual switch that is available on your network. And once that is done, you could click on next, and then you could click on next, so that it would actually go ahead and have this particular VM mounted, this image backup mounted as a VM, and it would be available to you. So now I'm just going back to the HyperV manager, and you could actually see a new VM that gets instantly mounted. So once you have this mounted, you could go ahead and connect to it, and you could go ahead and start using it, so that it would actually go ahead and have your VMs available instantly. And whatever changes that you have to this or due to this particular VM would also be taken as a timestamp on regular intervals, so that in case if you like to rebuild the server, you could go ahead and use our Vembu Universal Explorer, and we have a recovery tool, so you could use that and you could go ahead and perform a bare metal restore of it. And now going back to the other recovery options which is available. So basically, alright, and now when you click on recovery options available, the next one is live recovery to a HyperV server. So this is actually restoring a backed up VMs directly to the target HyperV server. And the next one is file level recovery. By doing this, you would actually be mounting this image backup to our Vembu virtual drive that is available. So by clicking on this, you would be able to go ahead and have that particular thing mounted so that it would actually go ahead and have access to the files and folders. So when you click on file level recovery, it would automatically go ahead and have that specific image backup which you selected would be mounted onto your disk management as a drive, so that you would have access to the files and folders, and you would be able to perform granular restore of files and folders. And in case if it's an application specific, you could use Vembu Universal Explorer, and you could go ahead and perform a restore of individual SQL databases, or Exchange mail level restore, or user level email restore, or a SharePoint site level restore, and other things. And the last one is download. You could either go ahead and download this particular VM to a different file format. So basically you could go ahead and select the restore version, and then you could click on the restore the data that you would like to restore, and you could go ahead and select the restore location, and then you could go ahead and select it where you could have our software would be smart enough to go ahead and convert this image backup to a different file format of your choice. So basically you could convert a VMBK file to a VHT, or a physical server to a VM, and a VM to a VM. So you could either convert it to a VHT or VMTK, VHTX, VMTK flat, or raw format, and you could have this particular VM up and running on different hypervisors available on your environment. So these are some of the highlighted recovery options which is available. As you mentioned, it's a simple step-by-step recovery option, so that it is very hassle-free to use, and you would be able to go ahead and restore the data within seconds. And apart from that, we have something called backup report. So under backup reports, we have something called backup status report. So this is going to be a centralized place where you could actually see all the backup reports running to the backup server listed. So basically it would automatically show up the list of backups which is running to the backup server. It gives you the status, the name of the job, then the client name, the schedule type, the next schedule time, and the remarks. And you also have options to even instantly email these reports, so that if, for example, if your manager is requesting for a email report, and if you have if you would like to send out a report, you could just go to this, and you could click on this send instant email report now, and specify the IP address. You would have this particular email report sent as an email to him. And apart from that, you also have options to schedule this email report. So by enabling this email report scheduling, you could specify your email address, your colleague's email address, so that even you, without logging into the backup server, every day you would be getting the scheduled reports of your backups, whether the backup is successful or failure or missed. So you could go ahead and select a filter, and if there is no filter selected, you could add a filter by selecting, by giving a name, what are the types of backups that you would like, and the duration. And once you have these things saved, you could go ahead and schedule it. You would like to run it on a daily, you would like to receive it on a daily thing or a weekly thing, and you could save these configurations so that every day, without you logging into the backup server, you would have these reports emailed to you, and you would be able to go ahead and get the status of the report without having anything to do. And the next important thing we're going to talk about is image verification report. As we mentioned, for example, if you perform a disk image backup of a physical server or a virtual machine, once the backup is completed, our software is smart enough to go ahead and mount that particular backup onto the HyperV which is available on the backup server, and it checks whether the backup is successfully mounted. And once that is successfully mounted, it takes a screenshot of that and gives you a confirmation stating that the backup which is completed is a successful and a bootable image backup, so that in case if there is a disaster, you would be able to go ahead and restore the data without having any data loss. And apart from that, we have different levels or different types of backups available, where you could actually perform VMware backups for ESXi servers and physical server disk image backups. And the last one we're going to talk about is management, where you could actually go ahead and efficiently manage your storage. So by clicking on storage management, as we mentioned earlier, you have an option to go ahead and have a continuous backup, and you would have the backups overlapping to the next storage once the backup is completed. So likewise, you would be having the configured disk storage or the repositories listed here, and you have an option either to add a network drive or edit this, and you could actually go ahead and have the repositories configured so that you would have all these backups running to this particular backup server. So these are some of the highlighted features which is available on Vembu Dr Suite and for HyperV backups, and we do have this product available for a 30-day trial. So basically, maybe you could go ahead and visit our website, and you could go ahead and download the 30-day trial and you could go ahead and start evaluating the product. And in case if you would like to know more about us, you could actually go ahead and contact us to the numbers which is displayed. So for US in Canada, you could dial into 512-256-8699, and for United Kingdom and European regions, you could go ahead and dial in to +44-203-793-8668. And the email where you could contact us would be Vembu-sales@vembu.com to know more about the pricing, and Vembu-support@vembu.com to know more about the products. And if you are interested, you could actually download the trial which is available on the website. It comes with a 30-day trial, and it's a full-fledged license where you could actually go ahead and completely evaluate the product to make sure that it is completely suitable for your environment. At any point, if you have any questions, please feel to contact us so that we would certainly go ahead and provide you the best solution, and we would also go ahead and help you during the evaluation process. And talking about support, we have 24/7 support available around the clock to assist you. You could either contact us through the telephone, or you could even contact us through email. So we provide two different types of supports, and in case of any disaster, we would have high priority on anything, and we would make sure that your problem gets resolved. And when you go ahead and purchase a software, you would automatically be eligible for latest software updates, and the pricing is going to be simple and straightforward. We would only be pricing you for the licenses, and there is no extra charge for the backup server and everything. To know more about the pricing, please do visit our website, which is www.vembu.com. And I would once again thank you everyone for joining this particular webinar. And this webinar is being recorded, and at any point, if you do like to have a copy of this webinar, please email us to Vembu-sales@vembu.com so that we would have our sales engineer to go ahead and share this presentation so that you could go ahead and use it for your future use. And I would like to go ahead and thank you once again everyone for taking your time and joining the session. Have a great day and a happy weekend.